Park Suns logo design.
Okay, great. Thanks. Good afternoon. It's August 7th, and we are here at 4 o'clock for a special meeting. We have a few items for new business. The first one, well, the following items after the first are discussions under executive session, but the first one here, we have our emergency manager Claire Skeen to talk to the commissioners about considering a resolution to declare a local disaster emergency for Lake County and affected municipal corporations, special districts, and other eligible non-governmental organizations in response to the severe storm weather in August of 2023 to support response and recovery operations. Go right ahead, Claire. Please give us.
So do you want to acknowledge we have Meredith Nichols on the line today. She is the Central Area Field Manager from the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. She's been a great partner to us these past few days, and she is here just to answer any questions or help provide any clarification. We can kind of tag team that.
Okay.
So I'm here for you guys today to recommend that you guys declare a local disaster emergency in response to the severe weather we experienced on August 1st, and to also continue with anything that we may experience this next few weeks as we move through the monsoon season, which is officially here. So just to kind of set the stage, on August 1st, starting around 4 p.m. a storm rolled in. It dropped about 1.5 inches of precipitation, just in a matter of a few minutes really. That shattered the record from 1986, which was 1.7 inches of precipitation in one day. That rush of precipitation, mostly hail and water, caused some flooding issues, mostly in the West Park neighborhood. Kind of in the Mount Massive, Mount Columbia, Mount Yale, Mount Homestake Drive all experienced significant road damage. Also Evergreen Cemetery, Alpine Cirque are all roads. And then in your packets, you guys also have links to some initial photos. And to kind of talk about recovery section operations, there's two different things we're working on. The first is an initial damage assessment to public infrastructure that OEM is working on with Public Works, and that's looking at all the different road damage, drainage damage, and kind of assessing what is damaged, what needs to be fixed, and how much it will cost. The second part of that is we've published a survey for residents to self-report any damage they've experienced to their homes. We saw on social media after the storm hit a lot of private damage to businesses, to basements flooding specifically. So right now we're asking residents to report any damage to their residents, talk about their level of insurance. And we kind of put these two things together, the public infrastructure and the private damage, to kind of come up with a number, and that number will allow us to kind of assess what options are available for recovery. Whether that's loans from the Small Business Administration, whether that's public assistance, there's a lot of different options we can pursue, but we need to kind of put a number on what that damage is and a path forward. So to kind of facilitate that conversation, I'm requesting the local disaster declaration from you all. That will be in effect for 7 days. During that 7 days, we've asked Public Works to complete their initial damage assessment by Thursday the 10th at noon. And then we can come back on Monday on the 14th, talk about the numbers that we found, kind of give a situational operational picture, and move forward from there. There was also some flooding in Larimer County from the same storm system. So the state overall is looking at severe weather. I talked about kind of that number for public assistance. There's also a state number to go to the feds, and that comes from all Colorado counties. So this disaster declaration also allows us to be a good partner with Larimer County as they move through their damage assessment. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and as I said, Meredith is on the line as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know I talked really fast too, so I'm happy to repeat any of
that. A couple of those. Okay.
I was curious just about the different pathways for private versus like private damage versus public infrastructure. I mean, road damage. The damage totals get lumped into the same total for declaring the emergency?
Yeah, Meredith, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, I'd love to. Thanks. So they do not get lumped together. So we always separate those type of damages, public assistance, which is PA, and that's going to be the governmental, whatever public infrastructure there is that's damaged, culverts, roads, bridges, parks, that type of arena. And then there's also individual assistance, IA, and that's going to be that private business, home, that side of the aisle. So those are separate. So what Claire was talking about on the indicators, that number that we're reaching to, Lake County's indicator is 33,000 for public assistance with some change in there. And meanwhile, just for scale, Larimer County's 1.5 million for their indicator. So, and from our previous conversations that we had with Road and Bridge and Tim and Claire, Road and Bridge alone would probably meet your indicator of 33,000 and some change. So that's kind of why we decided to move forward in this process. And Claire made some great progress there. So yeah, different avenues there. And so really, we always want to try and rule out IA, that individual assistance, before we go to public assistance to ensure that our citizens are taken care of. And so that's already happening along with that survey that's happened, that was pushed out in English and in Spanish that Claire and local partners worked on. So that was great. And so that line is also happening now. And then that public assistance with the initial damage assessment is also happening. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's good. Thanks.
Sure.
Okay. Claire, you mentioned West Park. Are we hearing any other infrastructure issues with the outlying neighborhoods on drainage and water septic collection?
Yeah, I've been trying to work with Leadville Sanitation, get an idea of any damage to their structures, or systems, along with the city streets department for the city of Leadville. In terms of kind of private infrastructure, we had some reports today from Alpine Circ, which I'll admit I'm not 100% sure where that is. But I think kind of driveway access, which was a huge issue there, as well as road damage. So I'm going to pull it out on the map after this and go drive it.
County Route 4.
We can find.
Okay.
I didn't know either.
Sorry, I have not been there. But yeah, and then yesterday, Bobby Lucero, who is Meredith's counterpart in the South region.
She is the West region, yeah.
West region, sorry.
No.
She came out yesterday as a resource from the drone team with DHSEM, and we were able to capture some drone footage in the West Park neighborhood, Homestake Road specifically, before that gets fixed, and then the cemetery as well. So we'll have that to kind of get an aerial view of road damage.
Okay.
The cemetery, like that corner out of West Park, and down, that looks bad.
Yeah, it looks really bad.
Yeah, and it continues kind of into the cemetery a little bit, still kind of close to the road. There were some pipes that I don't think were exposed before.
I didn't think so.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
those are buried.
And does this do the repair of those, or does it look or encourage any more like engineering improvements?
Yeah, great question. So this can do a couple different things for you guys. One, it's best practice, right? To not only do a damage assessment, but if you're closer at your indicator to declare, even if it doesn't go past that, it for record and for your own operational, your disaster finance policies, your procurement, overtime, whatever that looks like, that is able to be opened up, right? So that's always good practice. Along the lines of repairing and things like that. And so we can look at eligibility of expenses if we meet that indicator. Even if you guys meet your local indicator, we're still looking to see if that state indicator will be met, which right now I don't think it will be. We're still seeing, unless we can find, $8.5 million somewhere else of damages, we probably won't meet that statewide indicator. But that doesn't mean that there's not anything else. So one of the other options would be some NRCS funds that might be eligible through the EWP program. There might be some SBA for the for the public and the businesses, for the residents and the businesses. And so there's a couple different ways and routes that we can go. We just need to be able to see what we have in damages and then move forward in that picking a lane for reimbursement.
Okay, cool.
So the draft in here is what we want to, I mean, there's a couple, but the disaster declaration Word doc in here is what we wanna read into the record. And
Yes,
Yeah.
resolution 2023-12.
I think that's right, is that right?
That was the last one I found on iCounty.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
12.
I think 10 was the last one.
I know I found an 11.
You found 11? How exciting. Okay. Let me double check that, Claire.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Alright, so I'll just
Yeah.
read this annex.
Yeah, or I can read it, whatever you want me to do.
Sorry, I'll read it. Alright, disaster declaration, purpose. The purpose of this annex is to
Sorry, I think
No,
that's,
just
that's
the
for the,
resolution.
yeah, this is just the resolution. I think that's the work session document for Thursday. We actually have a work session on the docket to discuss the disaster declaration process. And that is the annex that we will be discussing.
So,
Go to the special meeting.
you gotta go to the special meeting channel.
Just kidding.
Down to today's. And then it's that one.
got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Alright. So our resolution number TBD, maybe 11. Alright, resolution number 23-11, resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Lake County, Colorado, a resolution declaring a local disaster emergency for Lake County, Colorado. Whereas the Lake County Office of Emergency Management, LCOEM, has advised the Board of County Commissioners of Lake County, the Board of a disaster, as that term is defined in CRS 24-33.5-709, currently present in the entirety of Lake County due to excessively heavy rains in the month of August 2023, the occurrence or imminent threat of widespread or severe damage, injury, or loss of life or property resulting from severe weather, rain, and hail to the county and flooding, requiring emergency action to avert danger or further damage. And whereas Lake County received 1.85 inches of precipitation on August 1st, 2023, measured at Leadville Lake County Airport, setting a record for most precipitation in one day and replacing the previous record of 1.7 inches that was set on February 13th, 1986. And whereas, based on preliminary estimates by LCOEM and affected Lake County departments, the city of Leadville, and special districts located in Lake County, the anticipated cost and magnitude of responding to and recovery from the impact of this event is likely to be far in excess of the county's available resources, and all available resources are under review while LCOEM conducts and concludes formal damage assessments. And whereas the flooding has disrupted traffic routes and imposed a potential threat to safety of motorists on a myriad of county and city roads, which include key transportation routes and infrastructure throughout Lake County. And whereas LCOEM has recommended that the board declare a local disaster due to flooding and associated damages to
Yeah, should be damaged.
transportation routes and other public and private infrastructure. And whereas it would be appropriate and in the interests of addressing transportation infrastructure damages or damaged. Whereas it would be appropriate and in the interest of addressing transportation infrastructure damages, the public health and safety, and would further protect property for the board to implement said recommendation. And whereas pursuant to the authority granted in the Colorado Disaster Emergency Act, the act, CRS 24-33.5-709, the Board of County Commissioners of Lake County, Colorado is authorized to declare a local disaster emergency for incidents occurring within the unincorporated area of the county. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners of Lake County, Colorado is further authorized under sections 24-33.5-707, the act to declare a local disaster emergency for incidents occurring within the boundaries and response area on behalf of municipal corporations, special districts, and other eligible non-governmental organizations. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners finds the necessity to immediately activate the response and recovery aspects of all applicable local and interjurisdictional disaster emergency plans, and to authorize the furnishing of and assistance under such plans. And now therefore be it resolved that the board hereby declares that there is a local disaster in Lake County that has resulted in the occurrence of or imminent threat or widespread or severe damage, impact on transportation infrastructure and or property damage resulting from flooding related conditions, requires emergency action to avert further danger or damage. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective upon the date and time given below and shall remain in effect for a period not to exceed 7 days thereafter, except by or with the consent of a majority of the members of the board. True copies will be filed promptly with the Colorado Department of Public Safety, Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, LCOEM, and the Lake County Clerk and Recorder. All right. Any questions on the resolution?
No, pretty straightforward.
None for me.
Great. I don't have anything.
I think then we just rescind that in 7 days, is that what?
So we'll schedule a special meeting
Okay.
for Monday, the 14th. And
Okay.
at that point, we'll have more numbers to put to this conversation. And at that point, you guys can choose whether or not you would like to go for another 7 days or another period of time, or we can have the disaster.
Okay, cool, sounds good.
Great. Thank you very much for working on this. I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution as read into the record.
So moved,
Second?
Any further discussion?
none for me, thank you.
None for me.
Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you so much.
I know you guys are about to go into executive session. If I could get a few minutes just to get signatures and everything so I can get this recorded on file.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you. There's only,
Oh, one, okay, we're good.
So you're gonna just stick it with me and have her record it? Is there a stamp or anything? Is there a stamp or anything you needed?
She's
Oh, sorry, she's sorry.
Thank you, Claire.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay. Thanks, Claire.
here we go.
Thank you,
Could you guys let me know when I can come back in after the executive session?
Sure.
Cool,
All right. We have item 2, to consider the purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, or sale of real property or other property pursuant to CRS 24-6, 4024A, and to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, develop a strategy for negotiations, and or instruct a negotiator pursuant to CRS 24-6, 4024E. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
Do you wanna read both
For
of
both
them?
of them, yeah, because they're
Read
both.
them both, the number 3 too.
Okay.
That one too.
Okay. Okay, so as read in item 2, and then also 3, to hold a conference with the county attorney to receive legal advice on specific legal questions pursuant to CRS 24-6-4024B.
So moved?
Second?
All right, any further discussion? Jackie will be joining us along with the manager and attorney, is that correct?
Mhm.
Great, okay. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
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 All right, okay, great.
On Zoom, you want me to?
Thank you, Tracy.
Our
Thanks,
door will
Tracy.
be locked, so you'll have to email me when you want me to come back.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Breakout. Grayson, we're gonna move into a breakout room, so we'll, be back.
All right, it is 5:39 and we're coming out of executive session. No decisions were made in executive session. But we do have a motion to entertain. I'll entertain a motion to authorize the chair to sign the new contract with revisions. And for Jackie Wilhan to submit that contract to the seller's broker, as well as authorizing Jackie to order an appraisal and an inspection upon acceptance by the seller.
So moved.
No second?
Okay, any further discussion?
No, none for me, I don't think.
Did you mention the survey as well, or did you just say? I can't remember if you just-
I didn't mention the survey, but I think we wanted to point
Yeah.
out that all, the contract will have the standard provisions for the protection of the county as a buyer.
And the survey's included in that.
As part of your due
Oh, yeah.
diligence.
Okay,
Yeah.
so survey, inspection, appraisal.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, yeah. I didn't specifically say the survey, but to order the appraisal and the inspection in that motion.
Okay.
To kind of get those rolling, because those are the next couple of dates that we need to meet on the timeline. I guess I'll also just reiterate on like the effort in leveraging Jackie as a resource as a county employee to help us with the pursuit of acquiring real property. Jackie's holds her license and is not taking a commission for this as part of the overall effort and incentivizing and getting local government and our community to make some progress. Let's see,
To retain and
We-
expand upon current affordable housing or
Yeah.
and attainable housing.
yeah, maintaining, the intent here would be to maintain existing long-term rentals and housing stock and improve upon the condition of those rentals, put in deed restrictions and start kind of protecting properties from external wealth and investments that might not have long-term community benefits in mind. But we'll also be able to use state and federal funds, to purchase the property and potentially, do more with the property or other properties that we might be able to pursue. Any other discussion?
No, I don't think so.
None for me?
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Great, and we don't have anything else on our agenda, so at 5:42, we'll adjourn.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks for waiting around, Tracy.
Yeah, thank you.
I will make no comment at this time.